It will be better. Okay, fine. Please try to be in touch so that I'll see to that you are awake. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Shall
sir.
we start? Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. After 15 minutes also, students are very few. Only 20 are there. Is it the same response with all the classes, or what could be the reason? Any idea? Morning, you don't want to have a headache? Fine. Okay. Let us start with development of hindgut. Do you know the different parts of hindgut? Can anybody tell me the different parts of hindgut? Before going on to the development of it, let us know what are these parts of hindgut. Anybody knows? Please, someone should reply. Don't keep quiet.
So 1/3 part of transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, anal canal.
Very good. So the same thing is visible over here. Very correct. You told the 1/3 part of the transverse colon is told, that is the left 1/3 part, left 1/3 part of transverse colon, then the complete descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, and the anal canal are the different parts of hindgut. Very correct, exactly. You can see the hindgut parts only. Do you know the artery of hindgut? Any idea? Artery of hindgut?
Inferior mesenteric artery.
Inferior mesenteric artery.
Exactly. You can see the same artery over here, just beneath the transverse part of third part of duodenum. You are able to see the below the duodenum. You are finding the inferior mesenteric artery. Above this, you will have the superior mesenteric artery like this. So superior mesenteric artery and inferior mesenteric artery. Among the two, inferior mesenteric artery is the artery of hindgut, and you can see the branching pattern of the inferior mesenteric artery over here. You are seeing all those branches in these pictures. Okay, moving on to the next picture over here. Among the hindgut part, the enlarged view of the pelvis cut section, you can see here. You can see the rectum, a sigmoid colon, rectum, and the anal canal over here. Anal canal is very small area. You can see the rectum completely. You can see the valves inside the rectum. The same weave is enlarged over here. You can see the inner walls of the rectum. I'm not going in detail of all these parts. You will be learning this in gross anatomy. I just want to make some highlights over here. Okay, so these are the different walls. There will be 4 such walls present within the rectum here, and there is a clear line over here. If you could able to see, this is called as Hilton's line. Hilton's line. So this line, try to concentrate over here. I'll talk this Hilton's line bit later on in the development. This Hilton's line. Okay. Similarly, in front of the rectum, we could able to see here the urinary bladder, the prostate, and the external genitalia. So here is an sagittal section of the same structures, okay, in an enlarged view here. Fine. Development, exactly. During early embryonic life, we could see the 3 germ layers, where actually there is a development of the placenta in the form of villus, chorionic villi and all. Okay, you are seeing the chorionic villi and all, and even the yolk sac is going to be formed here. It is forming just now, like even the amniotic cavity and chorionic yolk sac is formed here now. And this is the cranial part and the caudal part here. Now what should happen here is there is a folding of the germ layer will happen. Folding of the germ layers. So you will see an head folding. It is exactly like a bread butter jam. You'll have 3 layers of germ layers, endoderm, mesoderm and ectoderm. It is imagined like a 3 layers of germ layers. So these layers cranially towards head fold, they are going to bend in future, and similarly caudally also they are going to bend. Okay, and similarly on both the side laterally also they are going to bend. By that way the flat 3 layers will get converted into a tubular structure. Okay, trunk V is going to form in from that. Okay, so this is before the folding formation, before the formation of the foldings. This view you are finding here. Okay, and in the same view now you are able to see the folded one now completely. In the earlier case you see the heart here, heart was almost towards cranial side, it is just moving towards the thoracic part here. In the previous to this stage, if you see, the heart will be just above this, almost here. Now as the head folding has been started here already, head folding is started already, so cardiogenic area has been shifted towards, it is an undergoing process now. Now you see the same head fold is formed and the cardiogenic area is completely shifted towards the thoracic region here. You can see the thoracic region. Similarly, tail folding is formed here. Tail folding is formed here. So in the tail folding stage, you could able to see the caudal part of the embryo, the cranial part of the embryo. You can see here. In between them, you can see an connecting the dorsal mesentery. So within this dorsal mesentery, we have been connecting the primitive streak which is developing over here. You can see the notochord and primitive streak. If you see the dark colored structure here, this is the primitive streak, and the further notochord is visible here. This is the notochord here. So from the notochord towards the yolk sac, this was the yolk sac cavity. In the previous diagram, if you see, this was the yolk sac. Now the folding has occurred and this cavity is reduced into a small tubular structure now. You are seeing the same tubular structure in this diagram now. So you are seeing the tubular structure of the yolk sac. Okay, this is actually our primitive gut. This whole yolk sac, what you are seeing is the primitive gut. You have already learnt about the development of foregut, about the development of midgut, okay, at the junction of anterior intestinal portal and posterior intestinal portal. So you are finding the gaps, 2 junctional areas between the foregut, midgut and the hindgut. Hope you are finding it. So between foregut, midgut and hindgut, we have the junctional areas called as anterior intestinal portal and posterior intestinal portal. So these 2 layers, they divide the foregut, midgut and hindgut initially, wherein the lower part of the caudal part of, I mean to say not lower, caudal part of the embryo towards the tail part, which is now has been called as cloaca. This whole part is now cloaca. Okay, so in this part, okay, we have a connection of yolk sac with the dorsal mesentery, and from the dorsal mesentery we will have a developing blood vessels towards the hindgut. You are seeing the same thing over here in a further step developed here. So you are finding the mesentery, the dark linings and the developing gut you are seeing. So this is actually the foregut part, and here is the midgut part here, and here you are finding the hindgut part. Similarly, the vessels of the foregut, midgut and hindgut are visible. The celiac trunk and the superior mesenteric artery and inferior mesenteric artery are respectively the branches of the respectively the arteries of foregut, midgut, and hindgut. So in the lower caudal part of the embryo or tail fold, okay, where we have the connection of cloaca towards the edge of the developing primitive umbilical cord. The umbilical cord is going to be developed over here. So towards the umbilical cord, there is a small protrusion moves over here, which is called as allantois. A protrusion, okay, which exits from the cloaca towards the allantois. Hope it is visible to you. Okay, I told it is moving towards the umbilical cord. You can see in the next picture, okay, the clear-cut vision of the allantois. Now, from the cloaca, okay, this cloaca is actually a double layered structure. I'll show you in the next pictures the double layer linings. Okay, and even you can see the tail gut. Tail gut is actually nothing but the post-anal gut. If you see the pointed area here, this is the tail gut or the post-anal gut. This post-anal gut is the pointed protrusion where in the future part we are going to have the anal canal over here. So this is the okay. Moving to the next step. These are cloaca here. In the previous diagram, I'll show you once again. See, this is the cloaca what I was showing you. Okay, the hindgut part, which is now getting divided by a urogenital septum here. Urogenital septum. Okay, so this such developing septum, okay, will divide the cloaca into anterior part and posterior part. The same thing I'm showing you here. I'm trying to make you visualize here. So this was the allantois which was present here. Okay, this will develop into urorectal septum. Urorectal septum. Urorectal septum is the one which is actually dividing this cloaca. The hindgut is trying to be divided over here. Okay, and ventrally situated allantois is going to divide the hindgut into the pre-allantoic area. This I told you allantois. Okay. Yeah, you just see here. So I told you this is the allantois. This allantois will divide the hindgut into the pre-allantoic part and post-allantoic part. Hope it is visible to you. The pre-allantoic part and the post-allantoic part. This is the allantois. Okay. And so now the pre-allantoic part and the post-allantoic part is visible here. Now the urorectal septum is developing over here. Now the hindgut in the lower part is covered by a membrane which is called as cloacal membrane. So this cloacal membrane is actually double layered structure. Layer 1 is blue in color, the layer 2 is red in color. Okay, now the urorectal septum still grows towards inferiorly. You can see the same growth over here, which will almost reach the cloacal membrane in future. The same urorectal septum will reach the cloacal membrane and will divide completely the hindgut into two parts, anteriorly or ventrally situated primitive urogenital sinus. You just look into this area, primitive urogenital sinus, ventrally situated, and dorsally situated endodermal cloaca. This part, dorsal part, now the hindgut has splitted completely into two areas. Hindgut is splitted into two areas, which are named as primitive urogenital sinus and the endodermal cloaca. Endodermal cloaca. These two are interconnected still through a small duct over here, which will be called as, this is, I told you, endodermal cloaca, and definitely this is the cloacal duct. Cloacal duct. Okay. So in the future, it is completely the urogenital septum, which is present in the middle, is completely going and adhering with the cloacal membrane. By this way, a complete septum is formed here. Complete septum is formed here, urogenital septum, and the posteriorly situated, dorsally situated primitive anorectal canal is segregated, separated from the definitive urogenital sinus. The earlier case, we saw the primitive urogenital sinus and the anorectal sinus over here. Now, the definitive urogenital sinus and the anorectal canal is visible over here. And the same membranes which we are covering here, the cloacal membrane which was there here now, okay, the part which covers the urogenital sinus will be called as urogenital membrane, and the part of cloacal membrane which covers the anorectal area is called as the proctodium. Proctodium or the anal membrane. Anal membrane. Okay, so the area between the future developing, the area between these two, anorectal canal and the definitive urogenital sinus, where we will have the perineal body developing over here. So this area remains as the perineal body. So perineal body area, behind that we will have the formation of proctodium. So by this way, the hindgut is splitted into two parts. Now this is what is clear in this picture. Okay, the same thing is further in a next step of developing. Okay, the outer anal membrane is now going deeper and forming the complete covering for the anal canal over here, and forms the outer area, and the remaining area is now the anterior area. The definitive urogenital sinus is completely going to convert into vesico-urethral canal and a definitive urogenital sinus. These two layers will get converted into two small bulges. Okay, so the lower one, definitive urogenital sinus, will get converted into the epithelium of the urethra here. Urethra, you can imagine this will proceedingly develop into the urethra, and the upper part where we have here, okay, this will develop into vesicae. It is said that vesicae. Okay, so vesicae is nothing but the urinary bladder, where we will have the urinary bladder developing here. Okay, and the further allantois is still connected with the umbilical cord. Okay, hope it is clear. The same thing in a diagrammatic way. This was the endodermal cloaca. This is the cloacal membrane. Allantois is here. Now the cloacal duct is formed here, and the urorectal septum is further developing and has divided the hindgut into two parts. The definitive urogenital sinus and the anorectal sinus are formed here. Okay, so formed structure. Below we will have urogenital membrane. I told you bilayered structure. The cloacal membrane is bilayered structure, I told you. So you can see the two layers here, urogenital membrane. Okay, and the proctodium or anal membrane is visible over here. Okay, and now as we saw, the proctodium is going towards the anal canal over here. There appears a small pit-like structure, okay, where it will have a mucocutaneous junction of the anal canal. Okay, so formed junction was nothing but the Hilton's line, which I was showing you in the beginning of the slide. Beginning of the class, I shown you Hilton's line. So this is the junction. See, in the upper part of the the lining epithelium of the hindgut is actually formed by the endoderm here. Okay, and the outer cloacal membrane what we see here is actually developed from the ectoderm. Listen carefully by now. Listen carefully by now. Okay, I'm talking about two different germ layers. One is the endodermal germ layer, which is formed from the yolk sac over here, and the other layer is the ectoderm, the outermost layer of the body, which will be forming ectoderm here. This ectoderm will convert into proctodium and the urogenital membrane. Okay, so in the anal canal, when we see area above the Hilton's line is developed from the epithelium of the area above the Hilton's line is actually the mucous lining, mucous layer, which is red in appearance. Okay, outside to this area, outside to the Hilton's line is actually the cutaneous area, that is the skin lining here. This skin lining is developed from the proctodium or the ectoderm. Hope I am clear on my points. Okay, now we saw the cloacal formation in the lowermost part only, in the lowermost part. Okay, now we should look into the allantois, what has happened to that, and especially the allantois has gone with the urinary bladder, fine. We should see the pre-allantoic part and post-allantoic part, how they got converted. In the initial part, the pre-allantoic part, okay, here you could able to see the development of a midgut over here, where the physiological umbilical hernia is going to be happened here. You can see the coelom, cecal diverticulum and all. Okay, midgut is going out of the umbilical ring, and superior mesenteric artery is going through that. Okay, and remaining part of the gut is within the abdominal cavity. You can see here. Okay, during this condition, okay, linear wider structure, the pre-allantoic part is going to get converted into a wider tube over here, Okay, future after the rotation of the midgut and all, okay, the cecum, cecal diverticulum will be getting shifted towards the right side from left side. Okay, you see here it is in the left side. Okay, future after the rotation of the midgut, I'm telling you, midgut. Okay, it comes towards the left side. By then, okay, the structure which is present by the side of hindgut will come as the transverse colon here. So the proximal part of this will get converted into the what is called as that phrenicocholic ligament, junctional area where it is adhered to the diaphragm by a ligamentous structures. Okay, so this area it will not allow to move from here, so that the structures over here will be formed afterwards here. Okay, so from here onwards we will see the left colic flexure and then the descending colon. It is the fixed area here. Okay, the dorsal mesentery which is situated behind here will get disappeared, especially along the descending colon. Okay, it disappears, but appears, will still persist along the sigmoid colon in the form of sigmoid mesocolon, the dorsal layer of peritoneum, which is actually disappeared in the descending colon, but persist in the form of mesocolon along the sigmoid colon. So that remains as sigmoid mesocolon over here. Okay, I told the inferior mesenteric artery is the artery of hindgut, which further develops towards inferior and towards left side, and further gives branches ascending and descending and different left colic artery and descending colic artery and inferior rectal artery, different 3-4 arteries it gives, and they divide ascending and descending branches and make an linear anastomosis. Okay, they supply the hindgut part of the colon over here. So by this way, the pre-allantoic part will get converted into sigmoid colon and the descending colon and the part of the left colic flexure. Okay, post-allantoic part. Post-allantoic part, what has happened? We saw the allantois. Okay, how that membrane has converted. Okay, and even we saw the urorectal septum here. The same urorectal septum which is present here is now actually develops. You just see here, you can see the urorectal septum. It is actually a 3-layered structure. Urorectal septum, which I told you here, okay, is going to develop from 3 layers. Okay, so those 3 layers include the vertically situated 1 layer and horizontally situated 2 layers here. Okay, the vertically situated fold is called as the vertical element or the Tornix fold. The similarly to lateral folds are called as fold of Rathke's. So 2 fold of Rathke's are there on lateral side and 1 Tornix fold is there. Okay, Tornix fold will grow towards inferiorly and Rathke's fold will grow horizontally, and all 3 together they grow towards inferiorly. By that way, okay, the urorectal septum will be completely formed to divide the hindgut into 2 different parts over here. You are seeing the same thing here in this picture, the ventrally situated primitive urogenital sinus, which I was already showing you in the previous diagram. Okay, and the dorsally situated primitive rectum is visible here. At this stage, these 2 are interconnected through a duct here. You are seeing the same duct in this picture, okay, which is called as cloacal duct. The same thing is called as cloacal duct. I told you Rathke's pouch is lateral fold formed over here. You are seeing the same Rathke's pouch over here. Within this Rathke's pouch, we could able to see 2 small ducts coming over here. These are called as the Mullerian duct and Wolffian duct, or the mesonephric duct or paramesonephric duct. Do you know about these mesonephric and paramesonephric ducts? What are these? Any idea? Does anybody knows? Do you know about the mesonephric and paramesonephric duct? Can anybody respond?
No, sir.
No idea. Okay, these are the duct. You just see here, mesonephric. Mise means moustache. You know that? Means this is the duct which is going to develop the male reproductive system. Okay, which is also called as wolf. Wolf is the strong or horrible. And the paramesonephric is the Mullerian, or the Mullerian meaning is soft. Mullerian meaning is. So it is the paramesonephric duct is the one which is going to develop into the female reproductive organs. Okay, remember now only these are the 2 ducts. Our Mullerian and Wolffian ducts are the 2 ducts which are actually going to form our reproductive system. Okay, so depending upon the hormone secretion, the one which is there here among the 2 ducts, one among them will be progressively getting developed and the other one will get regressively developed. Regression occurs. Okay, so similarly, the whichever is progressed will lead to the gender of that particular type. So in this way, the Rathke's pouch has given us space. This Rathke's fold of Rathke has given a area for the over here. Okay, and in the same way, this will be completely closed. These 2 comes very close each other. Okay, towards the vesicle area. You see, this is the area which is going to urogenital. Means the urinary bladder is going to be formed over here. So it lies very close to the urinary bladder. Okay, if it is a uterus, this paramesonephric duct, you see the paramesonephric ducts are medially situated. These two will get developed into your uterus and your what is that, vaginal canal. Vaginal canal. These two will be forming, okay, these two tubes together forming the urinary bladder, sorry, uterus and vaginal canal. If not, this will get regressed and this will develop into the reproductive parts of the male genital system. Okay, so that the hindgut is now divided. The part of hindgut is now divided into the endodermal cloaca is divided into two complete parts: the definitive rectum and anal canal, and the definitive urogenital sinus, like this in the future growth. You can see the complete here. Okay, and the same the urogenital septum is completely formed in this diagram. Okay, if that cloaca remains still, if that cloaca remains, okay, which is cloacal duct, will have a connection between the rectum and urinary bladder over here. Okay, so these are the post-atlantic part, how it develops here. Now you could see the developing fold here. Even you can see the fold of Rathke over here. Yeah. Now, what you should remember from this here, from this, okay? In two word, if I say the development of rectum, upper part, I shown you the valves inside. There will be 4 valves, I told you. Okay, area above the third valve of rectum, okay, area above that, which is developed from the pre-allantoic part of hindgut. Okay, and similarly, area below the third valve will be developed from endodermal cloaca. Okay, and muscles and other coats of the rectum. This is actually the inner lining epithelium of the mucosal lining of the rectum, what I'm talking here. Okay, surroundingly coated muscles and connective tissue and other tissues will be developed from splanchnic mesoderm here. So in the rectum we see mesoderm and the endoderm and combination, they develop into the rectum. I repeat, listen carefully. If you have not heard so far, you remember these terms. Rectum will finally develop from 3 parts: area above the valve, inner mucosal lining is developed from the pre-allantoic part. Area below the third valve will be developed from endodermal cloaca. Muscular coating and the connective tissue coating and other structures will be developed from the splanchnic mesoderm over here. Similarly, anal canal will be developed, that is area above the pectinate line or Hilton's line, what I was telling you. Some book says pectinate line, some book says Hilton's line. Area above that will be developed from endodermal cloaca, which was there, and below that it is developed from the ectodermal proctodium. I was showing you the pit, anal pit, which was formed in the previous this thing. So this is the ectodermal derivative, and here is the endodermal part. So anal canal will be developed from two structures. Okay, even the muscular lining and other structures also developed from the mesoderm once again here. Okay, so the junction between endodermal and ectodermal area is actually called as mucocutaneous junction, which will be clearly defined by presence of hair and a dark lining of Hilton's line, pectinate line. Okay, which will be shown to you in the gross anatomy. Hope it is clear. Finally, coming to the anomalies of developing hindgut. First one is the congenital megacolon, or also called as ganglionic colon, and also called as Hirschsprung's disease. Hirschsprung disease. Okay, so this is nothing but there will be absence of, listen carefully, there will be absence of congenital megacolon. I am telling you, there is a absence of parasympathetic nerve cells in the lower part of the hindgut part of the colon here. Due to the absence of these cells, the developing musculature and the developing this thing are narrowed and constricted. So due to the constriction of the hindgut colon, okay, the area before this area just before the constriction of the colon will lead to get enlarged due to the accumulation of the content inside. Okay, so that will lead to enlargement of the colon just before the constrictions. So that will lead to the congenital megacolon, enlarged colon. So this one, that's why it is called as aganglionic, where the nerve cells are absent over here. Nerve cells. Okay, you can say the ganglionic cells are absent at that particular region. Okay, and undivided cloaca. Undivided cloaca is nothing but actually the cloacal membrane which I was talking you is not divided at all. Undivided cloaca. Okay, perforate anus, where the anal membrane which was there, anal membrane or the proctodium, what I told you, okay, is not ruptured. Now what will happen to this? What will happen to the anal canal now? Anal membrane is not ruptured. That anal canal is not open now. It is closed now. Okay, so since it is closed now, okay, it becomes very difficult. It will have a connection anteriorly or somewhere in different regions. So imperforate anus will be seen. Okay, and in the next case, we will see the rectal fistula. Rectal fistula is the one where the rectum and urinary bladder, they were developing together here. They developed together. Okay, even the vaginal canal came in between here. The urethra came in between here. Okay, during development. Okay, if they fail to develop, you see here few of the conditions. Okay, where rectum, the anal pit is there, but anal canal is not there here. You see here. Okay, so in this condition, the rectum is anal canal and rectum has got connection with the urethra. So such conditions are called as urorectal fistula is formed here. Okay, similarly, there is rectoperitoneal fistula towards peritoneum, not in the place of anal pit. Anal pit is here. It is not coming over here. It has reached towards the perineal region. This whole area we call it as perineum. So rectoperineal fistula is formed here. In place of anal canal, we have a different opening over here. Okay. In other case, you can, like we said, development of uterus and vaginal canal in between them. So here we can see the rectovaginal fistula, where actually the fusion of rectum with the vaginal canal has occurred here. Rectovaginal fistula are the different conditions where we see here. Okay, this was about the development of hindgut or the development of rectum and anal canal. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
There we come to an end of class over here on development of hindgut. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask. No doubts? Fine. If there are no more doubts, shall I end the class? Hmm?